Rich man insults humble waiter. What the restaurant owner did next shocked everyone. He came in dressed like royalty and treated the humble waiter like dirt. He screamed, threw money at the young man's face, and humiliated him in front of an entire restaurant. The waiter didn't shout, he didn't retaliate, but just when it seemed the bully would get away with it, the doors swung open and a quiet storm entered in the form of the restaurant's owner. What he said made the entire restaurant rise to their feet. And when the crowd started clapping, it wasn't for the man in the designer suit. Before we dive in, please support us by subscribe, like and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. At 7:32 p.m., the golden glow of Delmare painted a comforting scene. The restaurant was alive with polite chatter, warm candlelight, and the soothing hum of soft jazz drifting from invisible speakers. Everything seemed peaceful until Jason, a lanky 19-year-old with hopeful eyes and nervous hands, was told he'd be handling table 12. Jason had only been working here for 2 weeks. He had dreams, big ones, becoming the first in his family to graduate college, owning a business, maybe one day even running a restaurant of his own. But right now, his biggest challenge was staying composed in front of entitled customers. And tonight's challenge had just arrived. Leonard Baxter, wealthy, arrogant, known among the staff for his temper and cruel jabs. He had already sent back a perfectly good appetizer and was on his 3rd glass of Bordeaux. Acting like he owned the place. Jason approached, balancing a tray of filet mignon and sautéed vegetables. "Good evening, sir. Here's your—" "What the hell is this?" Leonard snapped before Jason could finish. "You've got the nerve to make me wait this long. You think I came here for prison service?" Jason flinched but tried to maintain composure. "I apologize for the delay, sir. I don't care about your excuses," Leonard shouted, causing nearby heads to turn. "You want a tip? Here's your tip." With that, Leonard pulled a wad of bills from his pocket and threw them directly into Jason's face. Some bounced off his cheek, others scattered on the ground. "Pick that up," he sneered. "It's probably more than you make in a week." Jason's tray wobbled, but he didn't let it fall. His hands trembled slightly as he placed the plate on the table. The shame burned hotter than the kitchen flames behind him. And still, he said only one thing: "Enjoy your meal, sir." The atmosphere in Delmare had shifted. The once harmonious background music now felt muted under the weight of discomfort. Glasses paused mid-air. Conversations froze mid-sentence. It wasn't just a scene, it was a moment of emotional gravity. The humiliation was palpable. Jason didn't cry, he didn't scream, but that somehow made it worse. The quiet grace in his face as he bent down to collect the crumpled bills broke something in people. An older couple whispered in disbelief. A mother with her teenage daughter covered her child's eyes as if trying to protect her from the ugliness of adults. Even a young man near the bar, who had been live streaming his dinner, turned his phone off out of respect. Jason returned to the kitchen, his head low. Fellow waiters tried to comfort him with awkward pats and silent glances. One of the chefs, an immigrant from Ecuador, whispered, "You did good, hermano." You didn't stoop to him. But Jason was humiliated, not because of the money or the shouting, but because no one had stepped in that until now. The front doors of Delmare creaked open again. A tall man in a tailored charcoal suit walked in, carrying an aura that silenced even the flickering candles. Samuel Ortiz, the owner, a retired Navy officer, restaurant entrepreneur, and man of unshakable principles. He had built Delmare from nothing, and he ran it like a ship, tight, clean, respectful. He saw the scattered bills, the stunned faces, and then Jason, shoulders slumped near the bar, and he understood instantly. Without a word, he moved toward table 12. Samuel Ortiz's shoes tapped steadily across the hardwood floor. No panic, no yelling, just deliberate calm and power. At table 12, Leonard was swirling his wine arrogantly when Ortiz arrived. "Sir," Ortiz said, his voice low but clear. "I believe you dropped something." Leonard glanced up and scoffed. "Who are you?" "The janitor." "I'm the owner," Ortiz replied, eyes locked onto him. "And that waiter you humiliated? That's my employee. You'll be picking up your money, and then you'll be leaving." The room fell utterly silent. The tension was now thunderous. Leonard laughed, though it sounded forced. "Are you serious? I've been coming here for years. I know your chef personally." Ortiz didn't flinch. "Then I hope your chef tells you that we serve more than food. Here we serve respect. And if you can't afford that, you can't afford to dine here." Leonard stood now, puffing his chest. "You're going to lose customers for this." Ortiz calmly pointed toward the door. "I'd rather lose your money than lose my soul." The customer looked around and realized no one was on his side. No staff, no guests, not even the music, which had somehow faded to silence. And just like that, Leonard Baxter, the powerful, flashy businessman, grabbed his jacket and stomped. That the bills still lay scattered on the floor. "Jason," Ortiz called softly, not taking his eyes off the door. "Pick up the plate from his table. We don't serve hate here." Jason stepped forward slowly, his movements robotic, until he saw a nod from Mr. Ortiz. Then his back straightened. And for the first time that night, he smiled. The door shut behind Leonard, and then clap. A single applause echoed across the room, then another, then a chorus. The crowd inside Delmare stood up one by one. Some smiled, some cried, others simply nodded, but all clapped in quiet reverence, not for the spectacle but for the principle. Jason stood in the center of it all, tray in hand. Stunned by the response, an elderly man came up and said, "Son, you handled that better than I ever could." A teenage girl handed him a napkin with a handwritten note. "You inspired me today." Even a man who had said nothing all evening limped over with a cane and whispered, "My grandson's a waiter. Thank you for making people like him feel seen." Ortiz stepped forward and gently tapped Jason on the shoulder. "That applause, that's for you, for your restraint, for your class." A woman came forward and asked, "Can we leave a tip for the waiter who just stood taller than the man in the suit?" Jason was overwhelmed. He nodded silently, still stunned, eyes misting over, but this time not from shame. Later that night, when the kitchen had shut down and the chairs were stacked, Jason sat across from Ortiz in the back booth. "You ever wonder why people act like that?" Jason asked. Ortiz leaned back. "Some people carry brokenness inside. They use power to cover their fear. Doesn't excuse them, but it explains them." Jason sipped a warm cup of tea. "I felt small out there until you walked in." Ortiz smiled. "No, Jason, you weren't small. You were the only one standing tall while he crumbled." Jason wiped his eyes discreetly. "You changed the whole room by saying one sentence. That's what leadership is," Ortiz replied. "Saying what everyone else is afraid to at the right moment." The next day, the story made headlines. Though no one from the restaurant had leaked the video, a customer had. But instead of viral outrage, the clip sparked something deep about dignity, courage, and standing up for the silent. Local news stations reached out. Customers flooded in. Jason was even offered a scholarship by a local hospitality group, citing his poise under fire. Ortiz made one change to the restaurant. Right by the front door, etched in gold and cursive, "We serve respect here, and the food's pretty good too." Jason now walks in proudly, not just as a waiter but as the heart of the restaurant story. And for anyone who thinks money makes them more important than character, they're politely asked to dine elsewhere.